Hi everyone and welcome back to Family Law Assistance. A bit more of a chilled out one this time. Interesting. So I put a post up not so long ago about how you guys had experienced CAFCASS, what your experiences were, and I was not surprised to see there was a whole bunch of you that commented. And the response that we had was pretty mixed, to be honest. Some of you thought they were okay. Some of you had mixed responses. Some of you, well, put it this way, some of you had a less than positive experience. So, hi, joining, welcome. So today, I just thought I'd jump on here quick and talk just a little bit about how to work with CAFCASS. It's one of the biggest things that we have to deal with on the day-to-day. So I thought, why not just come on here, jump on, do a live and talk how to work with CAFCASS. So first of all, who are CAFCASS? Well, CAFCASS are kind of like, it's probably the best way and most simplest way that I can put this. They work for the court and they're supposed to be the eyes and ears of the court. Now, if any of you have had dealings with CAFCASS, you will know that first of all, by submitting a C100 form, you're going to trigger CAFCASS safeguarding report or a Schedule 2 letter as it's. And this is pretty much CAFCASS for the court doing a little bit of a background check. So this is Schedule 2 is often the report that you'll have before your first court hearing. And that report pretty much of CAFCASS doing a little bit of background check. They'll talk to you, they'll talk to the other parent, and they'll wrap it up in what they think should happen. Advice to the court. Now, the court will normally take this, and I've got to say, sometimes that Schedule 2 report come back to factual errors. So we've all probably had experience of having that CAFCASS Schedule 2 letter or the safeguarding report, and it's often given to you before the first hearing. Or, I mean, listen, not one size fits all. Sometimes that safeguarding report, you get there actually on the day of the hearing. I know, it's frustrating, I know. Some of you may have also experienced another kind of CAFCASS report, and that will be the CAFCASS Section. Now, a Section 7 report is a greater and bigger report than the Schedule 2 report or the safeguarding report. And that's really where CAFCASS is doing a little bit more digging, scraping the surface, having a chat with you, having a chat with the other parent. Usually, they like to see a parent. Listen, we are COVID, we are talking global pandemic. So sometimes what they've had to do has had to be varied just to make sure that they're COVID compliant. But generally speaking, their rules would be is that they'd like to see the child with the parent. Now, I've got to say, has been one of the greatest challenges that anybody facing family law courts deal with, and it's absolutely true. I absolutely get that. Thing is, when CAFCASS comes to speak to you, they're armed with something called the welfare checklist. Learn it, Google it, recite it, know it. Okay, they have a checklist, and when they're talking to you, if they're seeing you with a child. So learn and know the welfare checklist. And that's going to have things like the effective change on the child, the age and understanding, the capability of parents. Okay, and that, actually, do you know what? So another blog post actually talking specifically about the welfare checklist, because it comes up time and time again as to what it is, how to put it. Yeah, so I think I'll do a whole life. Otherwise, you're not going to get me off here. So working with CAFCASS has often proved it can feel challenging. And it can feel challenging, I guess, depending on your own situation. One of the things that I'll always say to people, no matter who you are, and is to try and have some detachment from it. And the reason I say that is because if you know the toolbox that they're working with, then you kind of, if you can't beat them, join them, right? if you know what's in their toolbox, and you can. Now, I will always back preparation. Okay, it is really tricky to know the difference between raising child and, let's be blunt, slagging off the other parent. It's a tricky line to walk. It's one of the reasons actually why I'll always say to people, look, here's, and you know what they're doing, then you're not going to get, your stress and anxiety factor won't be up to warp 10. The thing is, from the other parent, and that makes things doubly difficult. You add in a professional, somebody that's linked to the court, somebody that doesn't know you, doesn't know your child, doesn't know your situation, and all of a sudden it feels like they're coming in and they're about you and your situation and how you should be parenting your child. I get it. So learn, know, and recite the welfare checklist. Officers are like people. There's good and there's bad. Okay, there's thorough ones and there's not so thorough ones. You've got a Section 7 report from CAFCASS that you are less than pleased with. It does not find in your favour, and you quite honestly want what you can. But I wouldn't bother complaining. They investigate themselves, so what's the point? If you want to challenge a CAFCASS Section 7, you need to be doing it at contested or... Now, it's all in the preparation, so your good paperwork preparation will really, really help you out. But for challenging them, get them in the box. They'll contest point. And at that point, you... Finally, what do you do about factual errors? Now, I'm coming to this last because what do you class as a factual error? Well, let's talk about this. Opinions aren't factual errors. Hearing what one parent says about the other is what is a factual error. Actually happened. So if you've got their name, if they've got dates of births wrong, if they've, alleged opinions aren't facts. It isn't. So if an incident that happened, that incident might be being referred to simply out of, well, that's what the other parent said. That's what somebody else has said. That isn't in a medical record, or that's not, they've seen something in a report. It's opinions. So when we talk about addressing factual errors, and by the way, often the factual errors come in the safeguarding report. So it's kind of the first report you have. If they've got your names and dates of births wrong. Now, heads up, guys, because the officer you get will differ from the safeguarding report to your Section 7. Just a heads up, okay? You're not going to get the same person. Rarely. I'm thinking about some courts around the land. Get somebody that's doing the safeguarding report and the Section 7 as well. That rarely happens. I think that all the courts in the land would be singing from the same hymn sheet, right? No. it certainly wasn't happening in the global pandemic, and I guarantee you now, it's not happening now. So just finally, heads up, I'm just going to summarise. So CAFCASS are the supposed to be the eyes and ears of the court. They often will undertake the most common reports, that being Schedule 2 letter or the safeguarding report, and a Section 7 if they feel it's needed. Safeguarding report is just pretty much a background check. Section 7 is going to be the bit more in detail report. If you don't like what a CAFCASS is saying, don't bother complaining, but that you do address that at a final or a contested hearing. That is your arena. Like I said, at the end of the day, don't forget, they are not the court. They're the eyes and ears of the court, but they're not the court. And I certainly have over, the 14 years that I've been doing this, I have overturned many decisions. because CAFCASS are human. And I finally wanted to just a little known secret, and that's the tactics that CAFCASS use. Now, often the way that CAFCASS are perceived is they can feel a little intimidating, but let's be that what it feels like doesn't necessarily mean it's. Having said that, one thing I have noticed in CAFCASS in the 14 years that I've been doing this is that they tend to play devil's advocate, and they'll do that to see your reaction. So you really can't tell often whether a CAFCASS officer is on your side. I was trying to think of a better way to put that, but I couldn't tell whether CAFCASS or not. And you can only tell that really when you have the report. So don't come out of, and listen, I'm not just saying this about CAFCASS, and about court hearings as well, because often what happens is we'll come out of a court hearing and the person that I'm helping, their version of events will be totally different to how it actually went down. So recite the well. And like I said, if you don't like what they're saying, if you don't like what they've been reporting, if you don't like ultimately their recommendations, which let's be honest, an account in a court, you can do something about that, and you can address that and cross-examine them in a court hearing. Contested. Listen, guys, this is only a brief fly. Reactions to CAFCASS. I'm not surprised to see that you guys have had a whole mixed bag of responses. I kind of expected that. A mixed bag of responses has kind of been my experience as somebody that's been in this game for like 14 years. Well, certainly in family law anyway. Knowing the mixed bag that people come, one thing I did notice though in the comments, I wasn't surprised to see this at all, but this stuff is emotive. You know, I'm unsurprised to see and feel and hear that there are a lot of emotions attached whenever I ask a question. There are a lot of people who are angry. You're not going to get anything more emotive than your children. I totally understand that. Sometimes people feel, do you know what? People feel better with a plan, and knowing what you helping hand, the arm around the shoulder. Listen, we have been there, done that, and really have got the court order. So all the stuff that you see on our website, our blogs, that I do, both with me as founders of Family Law Assistants and our specialists, they're all here to help you. Drop them in the comments below. I'll be around for a few minutes. Take care, have a good day, and if you need any help, holler at me. All right, take care, guys.